face it, at one point in our lives, we've all wanted to have a real Pokemon. But sadly, just as how our dreams of unicorns and dragons were stomped on by reality, running into a friendly Pikachu on the street was ruined for us too. But is it really? Yeah, it is. And you thought I was gonna say no. Most of us, including me, were probably just like, no. At the scene when Dobby dies, just like, no. But I feel kinda bad. So to make it up, here is a list of amazing animals that could pass as real life Pokemon. But just to make things clear, barely. So here we go. Number 1, the electric eel, or Electrophorus electricus, which is capable of producing a 600 volt shock, which is 5 times greater than that of the average wall socket. These gigantic fish have a series of organs that line their bodies and contain electrocytes, or cells that can store electrical potential. Now, given the right signal from the brain to either stun prey or tell another animal to just simply leave them alone, the cells release acetylcholine, and ion channels open, and like a series of batteries, a current is generated and electricity is produced. Put simply, the electric eel is an aquatic Pikachu, just larger, hairless, and taking a wild guess here, probably less child-friendly too. Number 2, the armadillo. Yep, the little armored mammal that looks like a shoe. You can probably argue that some of them are not so little and others are not so armored, but you get the point. Armadillos are covered with armor made of dermal bone, covered with thorny scales or scutes. In humans, bones form when cartilage calcifies into bone tissue, but these dermal bone plates form in a different way inside the skin, without the need of our soft cartilage. This sounds like a viable option for self-defense. So basically, armadillos are like 4-legged small Pokemon, until you consider the fact that their best defense mechanism is running to a thorny bush or rolling into a ball. Number 3, the mosquito, which happens to inhabit every continent except for Antarctica. Granted, although the idea of a mosquito crashing a picnic can drive some people absolutely livid, mosquitoes aren't so dangerous by themselves. As you probably know, it's the diseases that they carry that make them so harmful. We're talking yellow fever, malaria, West Nile virus. By this, mosquito seems like a score for Team Real Life Pokemon, until you realize that mosquito's worst enemy is a slipper. Number 4, Chrysopelia, or more commonly known as flying snakes. Coming from a person who isn't exactly a big fan of snakes, ones like in Felix Baumgartner onto their targets are simply horrifying. But nevertheless, they are amazing animals for not only us, but physicists also. Basically, if they feel like flying, they simply 1. Find a target, 2. Climb up high and find an angle to launch at, 3. Push up and away from the tree, and finally suck in their abdomens and spread out their ribs to make a somewhat concave wing and sail away. Quick analogy, the concave wing formed by the snake is similar to that of an airplane wing, or for the 12 people in the world who play disc golf, these things. All of these generate lift and keep the object afloat. Even more terrifying, the snakes can even pilot its own flight by serpentining through the air. In essence, they're like a flying Dratini, just better and way scarier. Number 5, the Australian box jellyfish. Unlike the jellyfish you find on the shores of beaches, these jellyfish are the size of salad bowls and have up to 60 tentacles around 15 feet long. Each tentacle harbors needlecysts, which store toxins and contains a small needle. When an animal like a not so innocent flying snake happens to fly into a barbed tentacle, the needles then inject toxins which can stop the heart. All in all, each tentacle has the potential to kill 60 humans. So they're basically like tentacles, just twice as large, deadly, and with 24 eyes instead of 2. I think we should probably first learn to be safe around our own gelatinous floating cubes before we start messing around with animated string and flying lizards. Just saying.